forecast and how conditions are shaping up outside. Noor Rafat is standing by with the details. Hey, Noor.
Hey, thanks very much. Well, welcome to the meteorological start of winter. December 1st, here we are, and things have been icy in more ways than one in central and eastern Canada. Today, it was really the temperatures that made it feel like winter. We're seeing the effects of that Arctic air, frigid conditions, not just in Ontario, but also pushing into Quebec and large sections of the Maritimes, the outliers being the far eastern regions, seeing some 5s and 6s in Cape Breton Island, which, by the way, Arctic air will catch up to our viewers over there pretty soon. But it wasn't just the temperatures, of course. Snow in the forecast has made it feel quite like winter, and it really was not a whole lot of drama in the Maritimes. We were seeing some sunny breaks in communities like Halifax earlier today. Similar story in Montreal. Heavier bands starting to push into southern sections of the province right around now. The problem has been and will continue to be around the Great Lakes. Lake effect snow shifting with some wind direction, now bringing that snow towards parts of southern Ontario. But already we were seeing some serious totals in central Ontario. Gravenhurst declaring a state of emergency for these incredible amounts. Echo Bay 135, Sault Ste. Marie 105, and we're still counting. In the coming days, the risk is going to be around southwestern Ontario. That's where we're going to see more accumulations, potentially up to 50 centimeters, additional centimeters of snow as we head into Monday and Tuesday. In areas like Quebec and the Maritimes, we're not expecting a whole lot of accumulation. On and off flurries, yes, but do be mindful that you will get some breaks in between, and potentially some of those breaks will have some sun in them. Something to keep in mind as we head into the next few hours. It's going to be a frigid overnight in Peterborough, -11, -4 in Halifax, -5 in Montreal. Hope you're bundled up and warm with your loved ones.
Noor, thank you for that. A U.S. company
We are still looking at a deep freeze in parts of the prairies tomorrow, minus double digits in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Calgary feeling a whole lot better with 2 degrees, but still feeling quite chilly the more you head towards southern Ontario, southern Quebec, even Atlantic Canada, although St. John's, Newfoundland feeling lucky with those 7-degree highs come tomorrow. We've been seeing a ruckus unfold in BC, this frontal system in the Pacific bringing rain, snow and freezing rain over there, but you can see as we push through the week, the system pushes east and we're seeing those bands pushing into Saskatchewan and eventually Manitoba. Now, blue is heavy snow. Well, what about pink and green? That is freezing rain. And how is it possible that we could be seeing that if things are so cold over there? Well, I'll tell you this, we will see a very brief warm-up. Very brief, one day, but it will be enough to bring those temperatures climbing. And in areas like Saskatchewan especially, those temperatures will climb above the freezing mark for one day only. Don't say I didn't warn you. Over on this side of the country, of course, the ruckus being that those snow squalls that have been bringing not just accumulations of snow, but also thunder snow towards parts of Ontario. And we were at the mercy of changing winds. Now blowing from the northwest has sent those snow squall bands down south in areas where we haven't seen them just yesterday. So that's why we're seeing a shift in those winter warnings or snow squall watches and warnings now into parts of southern Bruce County, other parts of southwestern Ontario. And by the way, weather advisories for areas like Guelph and Waterloo for poor visibility tonight due to that hazardous snow. Now, we are expecting the most concerning amounts to still be around southwestern Ontario in the coming days. As I mentioned, potentially 30 to 50 additional centimeters of snow. We will see some impacts, as I mentioned, around Quebec and the Maritimes, on and off flurries with some sunshine in between. What we're really concerned about, though, comes the middle of the week. Wednesday, an Alberta clipper arrives from the prairies into central Canada, or into Ontario rather, and that'll be the first chance for areas like Toronto to see accumulating snowfall. Certainly a lot more significant than what we saw today. Totals before that system pushes in, which is as far as we can forecast right now, still around the 50 centimeter range into parts of Huron County, 3 centimeters in Val-d'Or, and seeing 0 centimeters in Halifax by Tuesday.
Here is a sneak peek of Casa Loma's Christmas at the Castle. Visitors can come check out their winter wonderland anytime between December 5th and January 4th. And speaking of winter, it is now time for our first look at the forecast. Let's check in with our weather specialist, Noor Rafat. Hey, Noor.
Hey, thanks very much, Tracy. So hard to believe December is already here, the first day of the month, which, by the way, is the meteorological start of winter. But I think for many in central and eastern Canada, I don't need to tell you that winter is starting. Already feeling it with those temperatures. Today, a chilly 0-degree high in Peterborough, 1 in Toronto, 0 as you head towards Tobermory, and even pushing into Quebec and the Maritimes. We're seeing these cooler temperatures thanks to that Arctic air, far eastern regions of Atlantic Canada and areas around Cape Breton Island especially still seeing some above average temperatures, but the Arctic air will catch up. Tomorrow we're looking at similar conditions into the single digits around southern and eastern Ontario, dipping below the freezing mark though as you head to the north, also in parts of Quebec and into the Maritimes. 1 or 2 degrees is going to be a popular number come tomorrow. Now, it wasn't just the temperatures that made it feel quite icy, but it was the precipitation as well. In the Maritimes, we got a taste of that snow around the Fundy Coast this evening. Also in southern parts of Quebec as well, with heavier bands pushing in later on in the afternoon. We did have some sunny breaks though in those communities, not so much over here. The concern has been around the Great Lakes. These snow squalls have been continuing since Wednesday, and you can see even thunder snow involved. A shift in wind direction has brought some of that snow down south in areas like the GTA, but of course we know the main concern has been around areas in central Ontario. Gravenhurst, 140 centimeters, declaring a state of emergency for these totals. Echo Bay at 136, and nearby in Sault Ste. Marie just over 100 centimeters and counting. Now the concern for the coming days is going to be around southwestern Ontario. That's where we're going to see the snow squalls persist in the coming days. We will see that snow activity once again in Quebec and in the Maritimes, but we won't see a whole lot of accumulation as we're seeing around the Great Lakes. We'll talk more about totals though when we head into the full forecast. Do make sure you bundle up tonight. We're going to see those frigid temperatures extend into Peterborough, minus double digits, -5 in Montreal for your overnight, and Halifax also seeing those temperatures dip below the freezing mark. Tracy?
Nor, thank you for that.
We'll bundle up. Tomorrow, temperatures quite similar to what we saw today. Still expecting that Arctic air to take hold, especially in the prairies, but we are seeing some changes. Notice the temperatures in Edmonton and Calgary, -1 and +2. Warmer air is pushing through the prairies. Eventually, it will track east towards parts of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and daytime highs around areas like Saskatoon on Tuesday, +3 degrees. Winnipeg will get to around -5, which is a good start, but that's where it's going to end, because this will be very brief as just one day. Over here, we're still seeing that Arctic air, 0 degrees in Montreal for the high tomorrow, Fredericton +1, 3 in Toronto, and eventually we will get another push of that cold air later on approaching the following weekend. So we're going to start to see daytime highs into the negative ranges for many parts of Ontario, Quebec, and the Maritimes. Here is that frontal system in BC. It'll push, it'll bring those bands of snow in Saskatchewan tomorrow, and eventually into Manitoba by Tuesday. But again, pink for that freezing rain, green for rain. That's due to those warmer temperatures that will push through the province. So a glimmer of hope, although we are still expecting some accumulations when it comes to the snow, around 20 to 30 centimeters, parts of central Saskatchewan and approaching parts of southern and central Manitoba. A ruckus unfolding over here, and it's far from over. We've been at the mercy of some changes in wind direction, and that has brought the snow squalls that we were seeing mostly for communities east of the Great Lakes now towards communities south of the Great Lakes. So winds from the northwest bringing that snow to areas we haven't seen before yesterday, like the GTHA and like parts of eastern Ontario and parts of New York State. The risk now continues for southwestern parts of the province because of that change in wind direction. 30 to 50 additional centimeters potentially for those areas that you're seeing in blue, and around potentially an additional 15 for those areas that you're seeing in yellow. This will continue Monday and Tuesday, the snow squalls I mean, and we will see some snow push into southern Quebec, across much of the Maritimes also throughout those 2 days, but it won't be as heavy, nowhere near as bad rather. We will see some sunny breaks along with that snow as well. What we're worried about though is rolling in Wednesday. Here's that Alberta Clipper pushing in from the prairies first into Ontario by Wednesday and eventually into Quebec and the Maritimes by Thursday. This one being the system that will cause potentially a lot more accumulation in areas like southern Ontario and also so especially in areas like Toronto. For now, before that system rolls in, we've got these estimates to show you around southwestern parts of Ontario, plus 50 centimeters potentially by the time Tuesday evening rolls around.